This is Dr. Joshua Reichert, Associate Faculty at the Forbes School of Business and Technology at Ashford University, and this is the Week 3 overview for Management 415, Group Behavior in Organizations. This week, you will be able to analyze how group cohesion influences productivity, and you will be able to critique the influence of norms on group interactions.
This week you will be reading chapters 5 and 6 in our textbook, Group Behavior in Organizations. Chapter 5 is on problem solving, and chapter 6 is on decision making. This week you have 3 graded assignments, 2 discussion forums, both due on Thursday with replies due by Monday, and your second written assignment, and the topic for that is decision making and problem solving, which aligns to the assigned reading in the textbook.
Your Week 3 assignment instructions are as follows. History is replete with examples of decision-making that inadequately addressed problem solving. Truth be told, most people, if not all, have such examples in personal life too. Develop a 2 to 3 page paper that addresses the following. 1. Describe a historic example, either social or personal, of a problem that required group resolution. 2. Using the steps in your text, describe the steps involved in the problem-solving process for the example. 3. Explain how the decision was made to solve the problem and how, in hindsight, that decision could have resulted in better outcomes for all stakeholders. The idea here is to address a problem, and this could be a personal situation that you have faced in the past. So for example, maybe a family conflict that required the process of group resolution to occur and problem-solving skills to be applied before you could adequately make a particular decision. So this could maybe be sending your oldest child off to the right college, or even purchasing the right vehicle, buying and selling a home. Things that could potentially cause conflict in a family if they are not adequately addressed using some of the strategies that we're studying in this week's text. You could also use an example from industry, so maybe how a particular company launched a product, or how individuals within an organization conflicted. So maybe an example might be the transition from Steve Jobs to Tim Cook at Apple, and whether or not that same spirit of innovation was passed down to the next leader of that company, or whether or not Steve Jobs was an asset to Apple when he came back in the early 2000s. So you can pick an example that works best for you, either from your personal life or maybe even from your own organization. Perhaps you've experienced this kind of group conflict at the place where you work, and you can provide a realistic example. In any case, you do need to provide plenty,
especially when you're delineating the steps of the problem-solving process, but also other sources that support the case or the position that you're taking. Of course, as you do your citations, you need to cite the course text and at least 4 other scholarly sources. So I do not prefer things like blogs and websites. Those should be few and far between, and the majority of your sources should be from scholarly books and articles. You can always refer to the APA standards in the Ashford Writing Center, and also be sure to check out the Originality Matters areas of our course. So make sure that you list those references in APA format and cite them in APA format in the body of the paper. I recommend the following outline for your paper. Of course, an APA cover page. Your first paragraph should be a strong introduction with a clear thesis statement. Then I recommend 2 to 3 paragraphs with an overview of the historical problem in your organization, or perhaps even in your personal life. So describe the problem, describe the members of the group, describe how the situation came about. Then I recommend a section, maybe 2 or 3 paragraphs, that delineates the steps of the problem-solving process applied to your problem, and you need to cite the textbook directly for those. Next, 2 or 3 paragraphs of analysis And the question here is, how could the decision have been made differently? What if the group had actually worked through the resolution process? What if they had worked through problem solving instead of leaping to decision making? Could conflict have been avoided? Lastly, you'll do a conclusion paragraph with a restatement of your thesis and a clear summary of what you've written. And finally, you'll have an APA-style references page as well. As always, I'm here to support you, so if you have any questions, please contact me via the Canvas inbox. Thank you and have a great week.